Chapter 257. Su Yingxue prepared to close the door and beat the dog. Su Yingxue raised her eyebrows. Her father was indeed a sly fox among civil officials. He clearly knew that Su Hao liked Wu Jinyan, and insisted on marrying her. And it was not so easy for him to marry Wu Jinyan to be the young madam of the Marquis manor. His words were flawless and irrefutable. Su Yuro didn't get the right to be the butler, so she sat to the side indignantly. However, Su Yingxue continued. Why does my brother need to get married? If Marquis manor needs a madam, father can either marry or take in someone. It's not impossible. Su Yuro looked at her in confusion. Su Hao shouted angrily on the spot. Sister, what are you talking about? Box novel. Their grandfather had decreed that to protect their mother, their father couldn't marry or rate concubines in his lifetime. Yet, she was suggesting that he marry again? Yingxue, do you mean what you're saying? Su Dingheng's eyes lit up. Of course it's true. Father, at your age you should have someone to serve you. Su Yingxue's words were so sincere that even Su Yuro couldn't believe it, and thought that she had gone crazy. Well then, I'll immediately send someone to propose marriage. This, Su Dingheng was overly happy and remembered that he still had the old master above him. He quickly took back his words. In this life, I've only had your mother as a wife. However, if one were to take a concubine, I'd long had someone in mind. Oh, who is it? Su Yingxue's eyes were pure as she pretended not to know. It's Ruer's mother. She gave birth to Ruer and Jinxian, but she never had a status. Now only Ruer has returned to the Marquis manor, and Jinxian is still wandering outside. I can't bear it in my heart. Su Dingheng pounded his chest in pain. In that case, father should indeed give sister's mother a status. Su Yingxue smiled faintly. Su Yingxue, do you know what you're talking about? Su Hao stood up and stared at her with red eyes. Su Yingxue had an innocent look on her face. Su Hao rushed out angrily. Su Yingxue bowed slightly. If father needs my help in this matter, I'll definitely not reject it. I'll go persuade brother. Good. You're really a sensible and obedient child. Su Dingheng was overjoyed. He had wanted to marry Lu Shulan for so many years. Now that Su Yingxue had taken the initiative to propose it, she was so obedient that it was unbelievable. However, Su Yuro's eyes were filled with doubt. Father, is this not a trap set by sister? Are you really going to welcome mother into the manor? Nonsense. Ruer, you've really been spoiled by me. Your sister is so understanding. She suggested that one bring your mother into the manor, and here you're speaking ill of her. Su Dingheng reprimanded Su Yuro. Su Yuro was filled with grievances as she returned to her room sullenly. Su Yingxue used her flying skills, leaped onto the roof beams, and then jumped down to catch up with Su Hao. Brother, slow down. My legs aren't as long as yours. Su Yingxue landed in front of Su Hao and pulled his sleeve. Su Hao shook her off angrily. Don't touch me. Brother, if you're angry with me, 111 cry for you. Su Yingxue used her trump card. You. Su Hao instantly lost his temper. In the military, he could tame many stubborn and disobedient soldiers. However, at home, he couldn't say a single harsh word to his sister. Brother, don't be angry. If mother knows that I did this, she won't blame me. Su Yingxue pulled his hand and acted coquettishly. Su Hao's handsome face turned gloomy, and his eyes were cold. If mother knew that the woman had entered the house, she would never be pleased. Chapter 258. Increasingly difficult to understand my sister, but if she doesn't enter the house, how can I close the door and beat the dog? Su Yingxue tilted her head. Su Hao looked at her in surprise. You deliberately let her enter the manor? Yes. Su Yingxue followed him back to Ling Shao Court. She didn't hide anything from Su Hao and told him about the deadly plague in the medical center, and the matters related to Silver Moon Pavilion. What? That woman was so vicious. By doing this, you're inviting a wolf into the house. Su Hao punched the table. Su Yingxue consoled him. Brother, this is clearly a dog beating behind closed doors. Rather than letting her stay in Yaoguang Garden and plot against us, it would be better to let her stay in the Marquis manor. Under my watchful eyes, this is our home. She's just an outsider woman who doesn't even deserve the status of a concubine. What can she use to threaten us? Box novel. Come, didn't you ask father to take her as a concubine? Su Hao's eyes were filled with doubt. I did ask father to do this, but isn't it a different matter whether he can do it or not? Su Yingsha's black eyes turned around slyly. What other ideas are you hiding from me again? Su Hao flicked her nose. Now he found it increasingly difficult to understand his sister. Su Yingxue kept Su Hao in suspense. Anyway, I can guarantee brother that regardless of whether it's a wife or a concubine, that woman called Lu Shulan is not qualified. She can only be a servant when she enters the Marquis manor. She will even spit out all the assets that belong to mother that she embezzled in the past and return them to us. Su Hao felt that it was unbelievable. A woman who has such vicious thoughts and almost killed you is not easy to deal with. You have to be careful. Don't worry. If I'm not careful, there's still Sister Jin Yan. Brother doesn't trust me, but don't you trust her? Su Yingxue secretly teased Su Hao. Su Hao's face suddenly blushed. Of course she's cautious. If Wu Jinyan hadn't been so cautious, she would have married him in a daze. However, it was precisely because she was cautious that he understood that they both needed to work harder. He ultimately agreed with Su Yingxue, but he admonished her. If something like this happens in the future, don't hide it from me. It'll save you even if one have to risk my life. I won't allow anything to happen to you, understand? He patted her shoulder. The affection in his eyes made Su Yingxue extremely moved. In her previous life, her brother had died because of her, and she didn't have much time to enjoy the bond between siblings. However, it was different now. They would all live well. Su Dingheng very quickly began to prepare for the matter of taking in concubines. Their Marquis manor had a deep root, and even if he, the Marquis, were to take in concubines, even if the old master wasn't around, he would still have to invite the elders of the clan to nod their heads and be witnesses. Originally, the elders of the clan were aligned with the old master. However, when they saw that Su Yingxue had nodded and agreed to help Su Dingheng personally, they couldn't openly object. Su Yingxue publicly proposed, Daddy, taking a concubine is a significant matter. We should open the ancestral hall and seek the guidance of our ancestors. Once the ancestral hall is open for worship, we must bestow widespread benevolence. Since one can't assist Daddy in many ways, one boldly take on this responsibility. Su Dingheng was overjoyed and paid little attention to these details. Su Yingsha's understanding and wise words won the favor of the clan elders. He couldn't stop smiling. Very well. Truly, you are my excellent daughter. I entrust this matter to you. This is your responsibility as a legitimate daughter. That's right, eldest young miss is the legitimate daughter of the Marquis manor, should naturally handle it in this manner. Thank you for your praise, uncles and esteemed elders. Chapter 259. Su Dingheng took a concubine. Thank you for your praise, uncles and esteemed elders. Su Yingxue ingratiated herself with the elders. During their conversations, she learned that some of them had physical inconveniences due to their age. She even provided them with prescriptions for tonics, which further endeared her to the clan elders. Outside the door, Su Yuro gritted her teeth so hard that they felt like they might shatter. The elders of the Su family all praised Su Yingxue, commending her grace and noble status as a legitimate daughter. But this was all praise for Su Yuro in the past. She was also a daughter of the Su family. Box novel. Come miss, please bear with it. When our madam enters the manor, she will definitely teach eldest young miss a good lesson. She and eldest young master are both motherless children. How can they compare to you and second young master? Yuan Ruo advised from the side. Su Yuro looked at the triumphant Su Yingxue and gritted her teeth. Su Yingxue, wait until my mother enters the Marquis manor, and you'll meet your end. Su Dingheng chose an auspicious day and set the marriage. He even sent an invitation to his colleagues and friends in the court to attend the Marquis manor for a wedding banquet. Those who were at odds with him and looked down on him had all come this time after receiving the invitation. He even sent someone to deliver the invitation to the 9th prince's mansion. Little did Su Dingheng expect that Chu Yihan would also attend. Su Dingheng was dressed in wedding robes, and was welcoming guests at the entrance. When he saw Chu Yihan, he went forward to welcome him with a radiant face. "Your Highness, it is an honor for the Marquis Manor to have you here." Chu Yihan's face was as cold as ice. He nodded slightly at him, and went straight into the manor. Su Dingheng thought that with Chu Yihan's arrival, he would at least show some courtesy and offer a word of blessing. However, Chu Yihan publicly ignored him like this. He felt instantly embarrassed. Liang Jin came up and patted his shoulder. "Marquis, please don't take offense. His Highness has always been like this. Even if the Emperor wants to hear a pleasant word from His Highness, it's not that easy." He seemed to be consoling him, but there was a hint of mockery at the corner of his mouth. Su Dingheng followed the cue. "Lord Liang is right. Welcome, Lord Liang. Please come in." Liang Jin also entered the manor. He had brought his wife with him today. Mrs. Liang had recovered from her illness, and was eager to express her gratitude to Su Yingxue in person. Now that she had personally entered the Marquis Manor, and saw Su Yingxue, she couldn't wait to walk over and hold her hand. "Miss Su, genius Dr. Su. I've missed you for a long time." "Helio, Mrs. Liang." Su Yingxue greeted her with a smile. Seeing that Mrs. Liang's complexion had improved, she took her pulse again. "Mrs. Liang's body has recovered. You must have been very happy during this period. Your blood circulation has improved significantly." Mrs. Liang was surprised. "Miss Su, you're really amazing. My husband has treated me very well during this period of time. Ever since one recovered from my illness he—" "Madam." Liang Jin quickly pulled her back. "Miss Su is still unmarried. We shouldn't discuss our private matters in front of her." Liang Jin found it funny and helpless. He had spoiled his wife. She had a lively personality and sometimes she would talk too much. Mrs. Liang immediately covered her mouth. "Oh, one forgot. Miss Su is still a young lady." She blinked and apologized. "Miss Su, please don't take offense. I'll talk to you privately after you get married. Please sit, Mrs. Liang." Su Yingxue smiled awkwardly. She thought to herself that Mrs. Liang was indeed a girl spoiled by her husband. "Su Yingxue, are you very happy today?" Chu Yihan's cold voice was heard. Su Yingxue turned around, and was a little surprised. "Your Highness, you also honored us with your presence? I received the invitation, so why can't one come?" Chu Yihan didn't receive a grand welcome from her, and seemed a little displeased. "Your Highness, please take a seat." Su Yingxue smiled obsequiously. Chu Yihan stepped forward and pinched her chin. He stared at her deeply. "Are you sincerely agreeing to your father taking a concubine? If you are unwilling, I can." Chapter 260. The disturbance of entering the manor. "What can your Highness do? Are you planning to throw people out of the Marquis Manor?" Su Yingxue winked playfully, seemingly eager for Chu Yihan's response. "I can do that," Chu Yihan told her with certainty. On the day the Marquis of Marshall South took a concubine, the 9th prince threw him and his concubine out of the Marquis Manor. That scene must have been spectacular, and her father and Lu Shulan must have been in a sorry state. However, she would never do something that would tarnish Chu Yihan's reputation. So she bowed slightly. "Thank you for your good intentions, Your Highness. However, one was the one who suggested this matter, so you don't have to worry about it." Box novel. Calm Chu Yihan looked at her intelligent eyes, which were flowing with a gem-like luster. No matter how he looked at it, she didn't look like someone who could be bullied. Instead, she looked like someone who was in control of the situation. Chu Yihan couldn't help but be curious about her intentions. Su Yingxue couldn't bear to hide it from him for too long, nor could she bear to let her brother watch for too long. When Lu Shulan's bridal sedan arrived at the entrance of the Marquis Manor, she and Su Hao went out to welcome them. Su Dingheng gave Lu Shulan enough face. It was a 2-meter wide sedan chair with 8 carriages. Although it was a concubine, the scene was not much smaller than a wife. Beside the bridal sedan, Su Jinxian, who hadn't shown up for days, stood in a dignified manner. He was dressed in a black robe with a complicated and exquisite pattern embroidered with gold and silver threads on his chest. The long fringe on his forehead covered half of his eyes, but it couldn't hide the gloomy expression in his narrow and thin eyes. He walked up to Su Dingheng, cupped his fists and said in a clear voice, "Congratulations, father. You can finally reunite with mother and relieve the decades-long yearning." Su Dingheng patted his shoulder. "Well said, Xianer. After so many years, one can finally bring you and your mother into the Marquis manor." His heart was filled with love for Lu Shulan and guilt for Su Jinxian. They were both his children. Su Hao and Su Yingxue were raised in luxury in the Marquis manor. Su Jinxian had never set foot in it. It was a knot in his heart for many years, and because of this, he cherished Lu Shulan even more. Su Yuro was overjoyed when she saw that her mother and brother could enter the manor. She glared at Su Yingxue and walked to Su Dingheng's side. She said delicately, "Father, quickly welcome mother into the manor." Su Dingheng was overjoyed and only then did he remember. "Quick, enter the manor." Su Yuro smiled smugly at Su Yingxue, who responded with a silent smile. Beside her, Su Hao's right hand was clenched into a fist, and his voice was cold and deep. "A concubine cannot enter the manor from the main entrance. Did father forget even the most basic etiquette in his joy?" Su Yingxue's lips curled up. If father forgets, someone will naturally remind him. Today Lord Lin from the Ministry of Rites is also here. As soon as she finished speaking, a series of hurried footsteps came from the entrance of the manor. Su Dingheng was about to lift the sedan curtain when Lin Qin shouted, "Marquis Su, you can't." Lu Shulan had already stepped out of the sedan door with one foot, and Su Dingheng had already taken her hand. He raised his head and looked at Lin Qin strangely. "Lord Lin, what do you mean?" He had never offended Lin Qin. Was this person here to cause trouble? Lu Shulan had a bad premonition. She quietly lifted a corner of the veil and looked coldly at Su Yingxue at the door. Su Yingxue happened to look at her too and smiled at her. There was no sharpness in her eyes, but it inexplicably weighed on Lu Shulan's heart. The purer someone appeared on the surface, the deeper they hid, and the more difficult they were to deal with. Chapter 261. My concubine can't wear red. Lin Qin walked in front of Su Dingheng and said softly, "Marquis Su, had you been blinded by the joyous occasion and forgotten the etiquette of our great Qing dynasty?" This was the main entrance of the Marquis residence, and it was the center of attention. How could a concubine enter through the main entrance? Besides, how could this concubine be worthy of wearing red? Su Dingheng came to a sudden realization. He quickly let go of Lu Shulan's hand and backed away from the door of the sedan. He looked gratefully at Lin Qin. "Thank you for your reminder, Lord Lin. Otherwise, it would have been extremely embarrassing." "Marquis, why didn't you quickly get someone in the residence to prepare a set of clothes for Lady Lu to change into? If today's matter had spread, even if I hadn't said it, wouldn't there have been people who would have complained about Marquis in the Hall of Diligent Government tomorrow?" Lin Qin deliberately made the matter sound more serious. He was in charge of the Ministry of Rites and was a third-rank official with a higher rank than Su Dingheng. Su Dingheng didn't suspect him, and immediately waved his hand to order the servants. "Men, quickly change into a wedding dress. It can't be red. Box novel. Come, mark this. We hadn't prepared anything." The butler was a little embarrassed. Which family would have prepared a second wedding dress for their wedding? And even if Marquis had forgotten that concubines couldn't wear red, did this married lady not know? Or did she think that she could enter the house just because she treated herself as the first wife? When Su Yuro heard Su Dingheng's words, she stomped her feet in anger. She tugged at Su Dingheng's sleeve and acted coquettishly. "Father, mother waited for you for so many years. How could you have treated her like this? If she couldn't enter through the main entrance, did she have to change her wedding dress on the street?" This had been a great humiliation for the married woman. Su Jinxian had always been a man of few words, but he couldn't hold it in any longer. "Father, it would have been fine if we hadn't entered through the main entrance. At that moment, I was afraid it would have been difficult to find a second wedding dress that wasn't red. Why didn't we let mother enter the residence first?" Su Dingheng had been in a difficult position. Lin Qin hadn't said anything else, but he had kept a stern expression as he stood at the side. The words "etiquette cannot be overstepped" seemed to have been written on his face. Su Dingheng had been like an ant on a hot pan. Marrying Lu Shulan had been important, but his official position had not been able to be ignored on this occasion. If he had to choose between others and an official position, he would have chosen the latter without hesitation. "Miss, the clothes are here." Jilan had come out from the crowd and had carried a tray to Su Yingshi's side. Su Yingxue had caressed the orange wedding dress and had smiled. When Su Hao had seen her holding the wedding dress and walking to Su Dingheng's side, his eyes had been filled with doubt. When did she have prepared all these? Fortunately, Xu Yan had stood beside him and had told him, "Miss had already prepared it. Jilan had personally sewn this dress." Xu Yan had looked at Su Yingxue now, and his eyes had been shining. It had not been because of anything else, but because he had felt that Su Yingxue's brain had been a little too good. It had been as if she had predicted everything that had happened that day. Su Yingxue had pushed the wedding dress to Su Dingheng's side and had said gently, "I had prepared a wedding dress for Aunt Lu without permission." At that moment, I wondered if Aunt Lu would have been willing to change into it. Su Dingheng had turned his head and had seen the orange-red wedding dress. His eyes instantly lit up as he praised Su Yingxue repeatedly. "You have been a thoughtful child. Quickly, bring it to your aunt to change into." "Father, it would have been unlucky for a woman to change her wedding dress on the day of marriage." Su Jinxian had looked at Su Yingxue with a dark gaze. He hadn't forgotten what Su Yingxue had done at the Wangjiang Tower last time. Now he wouldn't have let her harm his mother so easily. "Yes, father. How could you have made your mother suffer like this? What red tape? Don't tell me it couldn't have compared to mother's position in your heart?" Su Yura's eyes had turned red. Chapter 262. Take the side door. Usually, when she put on such a pitiful look, Su Dingheng would do whatever she wanted. But now, not only did Su Dingheng not listen to her, he even sneered and ignored her. Su Yingxue lowered her head and laughed. If Su Yuro had not said those words, Su Dingheng would still have doted on her. However, her words today had cut off half of Su Dingheng's impression of a good daughter. A dignified and proper young miss of the Marquis manor would not have despised the red tape on such a grand occasion. Su Yingxue placed the wedding dress into the sedan. Before Lu Shulan could speak, she smiled and said, "Aunt, please change into the wedding dress I prepared for you." Box novel. Calm Lu Shulan would not act rashly. She smiled lightly, her voice as soft as a willow in March. "Thank you for your trouble, eldest young Mississippi. I'm afraid that eldest young Miss was in such a difficult position today." "Why should Aunt be afraid? You could even do such a thing to me in the Yaoguang garden. Wouldn't it be more convenient for you to harm me after entering the Marquis manor?" Su Yingxi's laughter was filled with coldness. Lu Shulan was just pretending to be nice to her. She didn't expect Su Yingxue to be so straightforward. Lu Shulan stared at the wedding dress, and her tone turned cold. "So, eldest young miss, you wanted to use this wedding dress to harm me? So what if I did? Could it be that Aunt had other choices now?" Su Yingxue chuckled and turned around to leave the bridal sedan. She said in front of everyone, "Aunt understood the big picture. She said she wanted to change her clothes immediately. Father, please send people to surround the bridal sedan and protect Aunt's innocence." Su Dingheng nodded repeatedly and commanded the bridal escort team, "Quick, surround the bridal sedan. Not a single breath of wind is allowed to leak out." Half of the bridal procession were men. Su Dingheng did not expect that Su Jinxian would not allow them to peek at his mother. He chased the men away and blocked the door of the bridal sedan himself. He had the maidservants surround the bridal sedan. Su Yingxue slowly walked back to Su Hao's side, and Su Hao's expression finally eased up a little. Changing clothes on the street, even in a bridal sedan, won't be good if the news gets out. Su Yingxue nodded. Yes. Su Hao suddenly felt that Su Yingxi's plan was not any weaker than the military strategy he used on the battlefield. A gratified smile appeared on his handsome face. Lu Shulan changed her clothes in the bridal sedan, and did not come out for a full hour. Many formalities had not been completed. Even Su Dingheng could not free himself to entertain the guests in the Marquis manor. He was originally overjoyed today, but at this moment, impatience appeared on his face. "Shulan, hurry up," he urged. In the bridal sedan, Lu Shulan had just taken off her clothes. After being urged by him, she immediately panicked. She was not changing slowly, but she was checking Su Yingxia's clothes. She was afraid that the clothes were crudely made, and that there would be traps that would embarrass her. She was also afraid that Su Yingxia had poisoned them, and wanted to harm her. That was why she had taken so long. After an hour, she touched the wedding dress and did not dare to change until there was nothing strange about it. However, when she changed into her clothes, she felt a little awkward. This wedding dress was much wider than her original one. She stretched out her arms, and the sleeves were loose and folded into several layers of folds. It made her look fat and round. Su Dingheng was so anxious that he spun around on the spot. He could not control himself, and was about to rush into the bridal sedan when Lin Qing coughed. Marquis Su etiquette. Sigh. Su Dingheng sighed heavily. Lu Shulan finally changed her clothes and stepped out of the bridal sedan door again. Su Dingheng suddenly remembered. This is the main door. You can't enter from the main door. Let Jin Xian send you to the side door. The side door is open. Chapter 263. The side door is also blocked. Lu Shulan endured the intense shame in her heart, and responded with a coy, "Yes, Marquis." Her obedient demeanor eased Su Dingheng's heart somewhat. He needed to witness Lu Shulan's entrance into the manor, so he accompanied her to the side door. The side door, originally large enough for a bridal sedan to enter, was now obstructed by a long queue. Su Dingheng widened his eyes. What's going on? Box novel. Calm in front of him, many people in ragged clothes were lining up to receive porridge and steamed buns. They were blocking the side door of the Marquis Manor tightly. Not only was it impossible to enter the bridal sedan, but it was also too crowded for people to pass through. Su Yuro, already filled with anger because Lu Shulan couldn't enter through the main entrance, rushed over and shouted, "You beggars, hurry up and get lost. Blocking the side door of our manor. Do you want to die?" The beggars, who had originally been queuing up to receive relief, now turned their collective gaze toward Su Yuro. "The master of the Marquis Manor has shown kindness by providing us with porridge. What right do you have to make us leave? She's dressed in such flashy clothes. One can tell at a glance that she's no good. Spit on her. Spit on her." The beggars, having gone without food for some time, now had a chance to receive food. Those who prevented them from begging for food were now their objects of disdain, and they began spitting at Su Yuro. Su Yuro's clothes were stained with the beggars' saliva. She was so angry that she cried out, "Ah, you dirty and ugly people. I'm going to kill you. Little brother, quickly kill them." Su Jingshuan's expression darkened, and he immediately ordered the palace guards to arrest the beggar who had spat at Su Yuro. The beggars immediately panicked. What are you doing? This is the Marquis of Marshall South's porridge stall, the Su family's favor for ancestral worship. You can't deprive us of our food. I'm letting you eat. Go to hell. Su Yuro stepped forward and kicked one of the beggars, her gaze extremely vicious. When Su Jingshuan's palace guards were about to kill him, Su Dingheng suddenly shouted angrily, "No!" He rushed to the side door, and looked at the people serving the porridge. They were all from the Marquis Manor. He suddenly remembered that Su Yingxia had told him earlier that when the ancestral hall was opened, they were supposed to show kindness. If Su Jinxian killed someone, wouldn't that be a slap in the face? Hold on. Stop. Su Dingheng looked unhappily at Su Yuro and her brother. Su Yingxia immediately stood up, feeling guilty in her heart. "Father, one was thoughtless. Our ancestors taught us that once we open the ancestral hall, we must help the people. I placed the porridge stall at the side door, blocking Aunt's path into the manor. It's my fault." As she spoke, she was about to kneel and apologize. Su Hao pulled her up with a stern face. "Father, what's wrong with sister following the teachings of our ancestors?" Su Dingheng was flustered and helpless. Yingxia indeed followed our ancestors' instructions, but this door is blocked. How can Shulan get in? Yingxia, quickly get these people to move away and make room at the entrance. He was anxious to carry Lu Shulan into the house. Su Yingxia looked hesitant. "Father, we've already set up the porridge stall. If we remove it now and say that we're not going to give out porridge, we'll be breaking our promise to the people." That's right. On what grounds can you remove it? You promised to give us porridge. You can't take away our food. You can't. No. I'm still in line and haven't received any food. A group of beggars immediately stood at the entrance of the manor, guarding the porridge stall. Suyuro was so angry that she wanted to kill someone. You bunch of lowlifes. Why don't you take a look at what kind of livestock you are? Do you think you are worthy of asking for food at the entrance of our Marquis Manor? Don't block my mother's way. Now that Su Yingxue had spoken up about her actions, it didn't embarrass him. However, Lin Qin, standing behind him, cleared his throat loudly. Lin Qin stood beside him, resembling a large character for courtesy. Su Dingheng's headache returned. But Lin Qin's presence reminded him that his official position and reputation were more important. Su Dingheng impatiently waved his sleeve. Fine, let's use another side door for entry. Well, continue serving porridge here. Father, how can mother endure this? Su Jinxian clenched his fists, feeling indignant. He gave Su Yingxue a fierce glare. This woman didn't want his mother to enter the residence at all. She was deliberately humiliating her. If you continue making a scene, you won't enter the Marquis Manor. Su Dingheng was growing increasingly exasperated. More and more guests gathered at the side door, all of them officials of the imperial court. Su Dingheng was someone who cared deeply about his image and reputation. His enthusiasm for marrying Lu Shulan had long been ruined by these events. He gestured. Jinxian, escort your mother in through another side door. I'll head to the front hall to entertain the guests. With that, he turned around and smiled at Lin Qin and Liang Jin. Lord Lin, Lord Liang, let's proceed to the front hall. Chapter 265. Lady Lu is unable to enter the residence. Lin Qin and Liang Jin nodded and followed Su Dingheng to the main entrance, returning to the front hall. Su Yingxue looked at the few remaining people surrounding the bridal sedan and asked Su Jinxian out of kindness, "Second brother, did you want me to accompany you from the side door?" No need. Su Jingxuan's expression had darkened. Su Yuro had gritted her teeth, saying, Su Yingxue, who needed your fake kindness? Get lost. Before Su Yuro could finish her insulting words, Su Hao stepped forward and stood beside Su Yingxue. His aura was awe-inspiring, and his entire person resembled a cold knife. Su Yuro had been so frightened that she trembled and swallowed the rest of her words. Box novel. Come, since my younger brother and sister didn't need me and brother to accompany them, we went to the front hall. After all, there were still many distinguished guests waiting for us to entertain. Su Yingxue smiled and stabbed a knife into the hearts of the siblings. Her words had a deeper meaning. Su Yuro and her brother weren't stupid, so they understood. Su Yingxue was saying that only the two of them born to a legitimate wife were qualified to sit in the main seat. The two of them born to a concubine were only qualified to carry a bridal sedan and walk around the side door. What made them even angrier were the 3 side doors of the Marquis Manor. They had gone around each side door, but they weren't allowed to enter. When Su Hao returned to the front hall, he thought, could Lady Lu still enter the Marquis Manor today? Su Yingxue had flipped her hair. Of course she could. Today she was father's concubine. If she didn't enter the Marquis Manor, wouldn't it become the laughingstock of the entire Jiangdu? Eldest young miss, you knew how to joke. At this moment, Lady Lu was already the laughingstock of the entire Jiangdu city. Changing her wedding dress in the middle of the street, the main entrance wasn't allowed, and the side doors weren't allowed. It had been almost an hour, but her bridal sedan still hadn't been able to enter. Just now, when I passed by, I heard several madams laughing at her. Xu Yin muttered beside Su Hao. I said she could enter the Marquis Manor, but I didn't say her bridal sedan could enter the Marquis Manor. Su Yingxue's lips curled into a cold smile. The other 2 side doors of the Marquis Manor also had porridge stalls? Su Hao had looked over without surprise. Su Yingxue had looked at him seriously. Of course. Could it be that the other 2 side doors weren't the Marquis Manor's doors? Su Hao, combining Su Yingxue's words, had thought for a moment. Then there was only one corner door left at the woodshed. Su Yingxue blinked her eyes like a ghost. Brother, do you still remember when one sneaked out to play when I was young? You were afraid that I would get lost, so you often followed me? You. Su Hao poked her forehead. Her mischievousness had been beyond one's imagination. Su Hao had originally been joking with Su Yingxue when he suddenly sensed two cold gazes behind him. He had turned around abruptly, but he hadn't noticed anything. Chu Yihan had retracted his gaze, but his heart had been filled with displeasure. The distance between Su Hao and Su Yingxue had been too close. Your Highness, had Lady Lu gone through 3 side doors, but they had all been blocked. They had all been porridge stalls, so she couldn't enter at all. There had only been a corner door at the Marquis Manor's woodshed, so the bridal sedan couldn't be carried in. Tell me, wasn't this eldest Miss Su good at torturing people? Mo Qi had been beside Chu Yihan, talking nonstop. From the very beginning, he had been staring at the entrance of the Marquis Manor, and had been telling Chu Yihan everything. However, Chu Yihan hadn't been listening. His gaze had been fixed on Su Yingxue the entire time. She had treated guests well, and had been humble and polite. She had been very worthy of the identity of the Marquis' legitimate daughter. Chu Yihan's mind had been filled with the images of Su Yingxue that he had seen all these years. Chapter 266. Su Yingxue understood too quickly. She had been bold when she was young, and she had been domineering when she grew up. This had been the first time he had seen her so educated. His little dumpling seemed to have many faces, but thinking about it, no matter what she looked like, he had liked her very much. As he had thought about it, a touch of gentleness had entered his eyes, and even the corners of his mouth had curled up unconsciously. Mo Qi had been thirsty from talking, but Chu Yihan hadn't given him any reaction. However, he had seen as if he had seen a ghost that Your Highness had been smiling. Box novel. Come, oh my God. Just how gentle had Your Highness been? How could he have laughed on his own? In the past few years, Chu Yihan had always frowned, and his expression had been icy cold when he had thought about things. Mo Qi had looked at Su Yingxue with admiration. This eldest young miss had been magical. Your Highness had been poisoned quite badly. Other than Lu Shilan's interlude, Su Dingheng had still been very proud today. Many officials in the court had come to congratulate him, and even praised him for having a pair of good children. Su Hao had been a young general, and Su Yingxue's medical skills had been outstanding. It had been simply a blessing that other families could not hope for. Su Dingheng's face had been flushed red from drinking. My colleagues, you flattered me. One didn't deserve it. I didn't deserve it. Ha ha ha. He had drunk to his heart's content with everyone. Su Yingxue had also been the one who had sent the guests off. When she had sent Liang Jin and his wife away, she had even said a few words to Mrs. Liang. When Mrs. Liang had left, her little face had been red. Chu Yihan had stood at the entrance of the Marquis Manor, and had seen that Lin Qin had also exchanged a few words with Su Yingxue. When Su Yingxue had hopped in front of him, Chu Yihan had pinched her face. I vaguely remembered that Lin Qin hadn't gotten along with you in Upper Forest Park. Your Highness must have remembered wrongly? Su Yingxue's face had been pinched, and the sound she had made had been strangely cute. Chu Yihan had raised his eyebrows slightly, and had increased his grip. Cough. I observed that Lord Lin had some hidden illness and had taken the initiative to send him a few medicines a few days ago. Su Yingxue had rolled her eyes. All right. She had known that she couldn't hide it from Chu Yihan. Chu Yihan had let go of her face and had pinched her nose. Cunning. This is so-called clever. Your Highness, don't mix up these two words. Su Yingxue had pouted and had argued. She had put on makeup today, and her lips hadn't been as pink as usual. Instead, they had a seductive blush. Chu Yihan's throat moved as he held the back of her head, and leaned over to kiss her. Su Yingxue had been caught off guard and had fallen into his arms. The man's body had been like a furnace. The spring night had been slightly cold, and the night wind had blown from behind. Su Yingxue had immediately experienced the feeling of ice and fire. Oh, Your Highness! You're not allowed to speak, or else one won't be able to bear it. Chu Yihan's words had suddenly triggered a certain nerve in Su Yingxue. She had seemed to have understood what Chu Yihan had meant when he had said he couldn't bear it. Fear had risen in her heart, and she had quickly pushed him away. She had shouted in shock, "Your Highness, hold it in. Otherwise, she would lose her innocence." Chu Yihan had just been trying to scare her, and hadn't had any intention of doing anything to her. However, she had looked at him with such understanding eyes that he had been at a loss. An awkwardness had spread between the two of them. Su Yingxue had bitten her tongue, and had suppressed the blush that had crawled up half of her face. She had said in a muffled voice, "Farewell, Your Highness." She had run away after saying that. Her heart had been filled with 100,000 curses. It had been too embarrassing. How could she know so much? "Su Yingxue, one gave your father a gift." "Thank you, Your Highness." Su Yingxue hadn't heard him clearly and had run back to her courtyard. Chapter 267. Chu Yihan's gift. Facing the well in the courtyard, she took a deep breath for a long time until her face was reflected in the well water. It was not as red as before, and only then did she stand up and walk into the house. Ziwei stood there like a statue, but Jilan was all smiles. Su Yingxue pinched her soft cheeks. "It's not like you were getting married today. Why were you so happy?" "Ptaha. I am happy for Miss. Not only did Miss show off your face today, but you also angered the mother and daughter of Sunset Garden, until their faces turned pale. The second young Miss cried the entire afternoon today, and was even wiping her tears at night." Jilan felt relieved just thinking about it. In the past, Su Yura's tears were enough for Su Denheng to beat Su Yingxue up. Su Yingxue was always at a disadvantage. Box novel. But today, Su Yuro had been crying all day. Their eldest young miss was not only safe and sound, but had also received praise throughout the day. Even the way Marquis looked at her had changed. It was a complete reversal of fortunes. Wasn't that delightful? Su Yingxue raised her eyebrows. "It's been tough on them. Didn't father arrange a place for Madame Lin to stay? Why did he let Madame Lin share a courtyard with Su Yuro and her mother?" Master was too busy enjoying the company of two beautiful women in the bridal chamber to remember to arrange accommodations for Madame Lin, Jilan said with a mischievous smile and a wink. Su Yingxue raised her eyebrows. Where did these two beautiful women come from? Did they make father forget about Madame Lin? They were sent by the 9th prince. Your Highness' gift list today included two stunning women. I heard they were the top beauties from the flower pavilion that the Marquis often frequented. The Marquis had originally intended to purchase them, but now, the prince has sent them to the Marquis. Puff. Su Yingxue couldn't help but spray out a mouthful of tea. Chu Yihan. Was he this cunning? How could her father resist the temptation of receiving two top courtesans on their wedding day? How could Lu Shulan even compare to the young and beautiful top courtesan from the flower pavilion? Wouldn't this drive Lu Shulan to the brink of anger? Su Yingxue couldn't help but give a thumbs up. Your Highness is truly impressive. She had previously thought that being the only one playing these games wasn't much fun. Her brother was so upright. He would never engage in such tactics. But Chu Yihan was playing along with her. This feeling of having someone to engage in these scheming games with her made Su Yingxue feel a wave of sweetness in her heart. In Sunset Garden, Su Yura's cries echoed throughout the entire courtyard. Lu Shulan had dismissed all the servants. Su Yuro wanted to vent her frustration, but she couldn't find an outlet. Su Jinxian remained silent for a while as Su Yuro continued to cry. He finally said impatiently, "Sister, crying won't change anything. Please calm down." "What do you mean crying won't change anything? This is all because of Su Yingxue, that wench. Father not only failed to arrange accommodations for mother, but also embraced those two little devils into the room. This is a severe slap to our faces. Does father no longer want us?" Su Yuro couldn't control her tears, and her cries grew louder. Lu Shulan stood up and scolded her harshly. "Ruer, you're becoming more and more thoughtless." "Mother." Su Yuro pouted, feeling wronged. Their family of 3 had suffered today, and instead of helping her, Lu Shulan scolded her. She couldn't understand it. If you had half of Su Yingxue's intelligence today, we wouldn't be in this situation. Lu Shulan didn't care whether Su Yuro listened or not. She pressed her daughter and explained the truth clearly. Today, Su Yingxue not only cleared her name in Jiangdu City, but also left a positive impression on the officials. In contrast, all your years of effort have been ruined today. Chapter 268. Lu Shulan took a step back to advance. Suyuro was both shocked and frightened. Mother, can I still marry the seventh prince in the future? If he and the empress find out about this, will they reject me? Instead of worrying about such distant matters, why don't you think about how to deal with Su Yingxue in the future? Su Jingxuan's eyes carried a sense of urgency. The gap between his position in the military and Su Hao's had been growing, to the point where a single word from Su Hao could determine his future. He felt like a horse with its throat gripped tightly by Su Hao. He had initially hoped that Suyuro could gain favor in the Marquis manor, wield some influence and help him. However, he couldn't count on this path anymore. Box novel. Calm Jinxian, with me here, you don't need to worry too much. Today, don't stay in the Marquis manor. Continue training in the army until the right time comes. Don't come back without permission. Lu Shulan furrowed her brow. Mother, can't one return to the manor? Yes. If you don't return to the manor, when your father remembers tomorrow, he will feel guilty towards the three of us. Now that you're in the Marquis manor, I'm afraid you won't be able to escape Su Yingxue's schemes. It's better to return to the military camp for now. Su Hao is straightforward. If he wants to harm you, he'll have to put in some effort. But Su Yingxue is different. Lu Shulan felt a heavy burden on her heart. The Su Yingxue of today was more composed and ruthless than she had imagined, subjecting her to humiliation. Su Yingxue wanted me to enter the Marquis manor to block me, and then destroy me. We mother and son shouldn't both be trapped here. Su Jinxian nodded. Mother, take care. Having grown up under Lu Shulan's care, he was more knowledgeable and obedient than Suyuro. At this moment, Suyuro could only sulk. Lu Shulan and Suyuro shared the same bed. After comforting her for a long time, she finally managed to pacify her. The sky was just beginning to brighten, and the morning fog still carried the coldness of the night. By the time the servants of the Marquis manor began to rise and start their work, Lu Shulan was already kneeling outside Su Dingheng's courtyard. Su Dingheng had enjoyed a night of passion, and had been attended to by 2 women. He woke up an hour later than usual. When he saw Lu Shulan kneeling at the courtyard entrance, her fair and smooth face was wet with tears. He suddenly woke up as if struck by a stick. He hurriedly went forward to help her up. Laner, what are you doing? How long have you been kneeling here? Lu Shulan stood up gently and leaned into his embrace. Her voice was soft and weak as she said, "One know I've made a mistake, so I knelt here to beg for your forgiveness, hoping you can forgive me." Guilt flashed in Su Dingheng's eyes. Yesterday, he had taken Lu Shulan as his concubine, and he had let her in through the back door. At night, he had even favored 2 top ladies. If it were any other woman, she would probably be furious. However, early in the morning, Lu Shulan was kneeling here apologizing to him. He felt a pang of guilt. He coaxed her, and his tone softened considerably. What happened yesterday was a misunderstanding. How could it be your fault? Does your knee hurt? Should I call a doctor? No need, it's not a big deal. Is there anything one can help with the 2 young ladies in the Marquis room? Do you need me to arrange something for them? Lu Shulan was gracious and not jealous. She even generously offered to help with the 2 ladies. Su Dingheng's anger toward her instantly dissipated, leaving only pity and tenderness. Lu Shulan graciously arranged accommodations for the 2 women. In doing so, despite losing face the previous day, she quickly showed everyone in the Marquis manor that she had the potential to be the mistress of the house. After all, Su Hao had not married yet, and there was no proper madam in the Marquis manor. Although she was currently a concubine, she still had a say in matters. Chapter 269. Take away the documents. On the first day of her arrival at the Marquis manor, she had already familiarized herself with the people there. When Su Yingxue went to the parlor for breakfast, Lu Shulan had already prepared a sumptuous table, waiting for her. Upon seeing her, Lu Shulan immediately greeted her respectfully. "Greetings, eldest young Mississippi. Please take a seat." Su Yingxue raised an eyebrow. She thought to herself that Lu Shulan was indeed capable. Despite being the Marquis' concubine, she was still so deferential in front of her. Su Yingxue didn't rebuke her immediately, and Su Dingheng felt sorry for Lu Shulan. Laner, what are you doing? You're older than Yingxue, and you're making her uncomfortable. Box novel. Calm, am I causing any discomfort? The eldest young miss of the Marquis manor is of such high status. 1 am just a concubine, so it's only right for me to show respect to the eldest young miss. Lu Shulan spoke tactfully as if she wanted to elevate Su Yingxue. Her words were technically correct, but Su Dingheng looked at Su Yingxue with a trace of displeasure. Su Yingxue sneered and took a seat beside Su Dingheng. She picked up her chopsticks and said, Lady Liu's status is still unclear, so there's nothing wrong with me accepting her courtesy. What are you saying? Su Dingheng's face stiffened. I married your aunt yesterday. You should address her as aunt now. How can you accept her courtesy so casually? Isn't it a bit too early to call her aunt now? Su Yingxue replied casually. Lu Shulan was pleased. The worse Su Yingxue's attitude towards her, the more sympathy she could gain from Su Dingheng. She quickly followed Su Yingxue's lead and said, Yes, if the eldest young miss doesn't want to address me as aunt, I can also serve as a servant and attend to the eldest young miss. Laner, what are you doing as a servant? Su Dingheng scolded. Yingxue quickly apologized to your aunt. I thought you had become more obedient yesterday, but one didn't expect you to be like this today. Su Yingxue took a bite of a silver silk roll and looked at Su Dingheng innocently. Father, what I meant was that you haven't submitted the documents for taking a concubine to the Ministry of Rights yet. Lady Lu hasn't been officially recognized. According to etiquette, one really can't address her as aunt yet. It's because you were slow. How can you blame me? There was a hint of grievance in her tone, which left Lu Shulan stunned. Su Dingheng suddenly realized. That's right, I still need to go to the Ministry of Rights to submit the documents. Yingxue, it's father's fault for not thinking it through. Su Yingxue was right. As the Marquis, he had to go through the proper process when taking a concubine. This included visiting the ancestral hall and submitting documents to the Ministry of Rights. These steps were essential. So father, after breakfast you should hurry to the Ministry of Rights. When you're done and return, I'll personally pour tea and address her differently. Su Yingxue said graciously and thoughtfully. Su Dingheng was deeply relieved. You are indeed a good child. It was me who didn't treat you well before. One understand your intentions now. Su Yingxue smiled gently, but there was a coldness hidden in her eyes. Of course, he understood her intentions. She had already planned everything for him. Su Yingxue continued to eat her breakfast as if nothing had happened. Since Su Dingheng had praised her, Lu Shulan couldn't help but flatter her. Lu Shulan was extremely puzzled, but she couldn't decipher Su Yingxue's intentions. She could only take it step by step. After being away from the Marquis manor for so many years, her understanding of courtly customs was not as thorough as Su Yingxue's, the legitimate daughter of the Marquis. She felt a sense of unease as if she were crossing a river by feeling the stones. However, despite Su Yingxue's seemingly casual demeanor, Lu Shulan's vigilance towards her continued to rise. She was too enigmatic. Chapter 270. Green Tea Biluakun. She was only a 16-year-old girl, but she possessed the composure of someone who had experienced the vicissitudes of life. What was most frightening was that she seemed to know everything. However, when it came to her and Su Yuro, they knew very little about her. Su Dingheng hastily went to the Ministry of Rights to submit the documents for Lu Shulan. When he went in, he looked excited, but when he came out, he appeared defeated. Box novel. Calm inside the Marquis manor, Su Yingxue had already prepared tea and was waiting in the front hall for Su Dingheng to return. She had brought the green tea that Consort Xiang had gifted her. The tea had a bright green color, resembling a fine piece of floating jade in the cup. Su Yingxue picked up her teacup and smiled at Lu Shulan. Don't be in a hurry. Once father returns with the documents, I'll promptly serve you tea. Lu Shulan wore a gentle and unthreatening smile. Eldest young miss, you are too kind. I am not worthy of being called aunt by you. Your respectful address is already an honor for me. Su Yingxue exchanged a glance with Jilan as if to say, see, it's interesting to engage with someone intelligent. Jilan suppressed a smile and looked toward Su Yuro. Su Yuro was murmuring to Lu Shulan. Why is mother being so polite to her? After becoming an aunt and gaining control over the Marquis Manor's management, she will have to consider your face. Lu Shulan quietly reminded her. It's too early to say that. Keep calm and don't speak recklessly. Humph. Su Yuro couldn't help but snort. She had been subjected to such humiliation by Su Yingxue yesterday. Even her younger brother couldn't stay in the residence, and had to guard against Su Hao in the military camp. But now, as long as her mother was recorded in the family records and the documents were processed at the Ministry of Rights, she would have the status of a legitimate concubine in the Marquis Manor. Even as a daughter of a concubine, she would have a proper position and wouldn't be ridiculed by others anymore. She would not let Su Yingxue off the hook. Marquis has returned. The steward announced at the entrance of the front hall. Su Yingxue slowly placed her teacup down, while Lu Shulan and her daughter had already warmly welcomed him. Lu Shulan gently and considerately held Su Dingheng's arm. Marquis, you've worked hard. Please sit down and rest. Father, the paperwork is done. Hurry and open the ancestral hall to record mother in the family records. Mother has been waiting for so many years. Su Yuro jumped up excitedly. Su Dingheng hadn't even had a chance to sit down, and she had already urged him twice. Su Dingheng was already in a bad mood. He scolded her sharply. Your mother isn't in a hurry, so why are you so impatient? Get lost. Su Yuro was taken aback by the scolding and almost burst into tears. She had never been scolded like this by Su Dingheng before. Father, Ruer is just concerned about mother. She has always felt wronged, sob. Ruer, shut up. Your father has been busy all this time, and hasn't even sipped tea. You're bothering him like this, which is thoughtless. Although Lu Shuyan's tone was gentle, she didn't hold back when lecturing Su Yuro, especially in front of Su Dingheng. Su Dingheng's expression softened a little when he saw Su Yuro's sensible behavior. Usually, it was Su Yingxue who provoked him. But now, she was sitting in the hall with an elegant posture, remaining calm and composed. She exuded a sense of calmness and composure that even he, as a father, admired. Su Dingheng's thoughts suddenly became more complex. Father, did everything go smoothly today? This green tea was given to me by Consort Xiang. If you've completed your task, I will serve tea to Aunt Lu. Su Yingxue smiled and called out to Aunt Lu. However, Su Dingheng's mood, which had momentarily eased, darkened again. Forget it, just give me the tea. Chapter 271. Lady Lu has no name, no title. Su Yingxue's eyes showed confusion, but she didn't react as dramatically as Su Yuro. She obediently handed the tea to Su Dingheng. Su Dingheng tasted the tea, finding it remarkably good. Considering that she had mentioned it was a gift from Consort Xiang, he believed she had put in great effort. He felt relieved. Yingxue, you are considerate. However, today your Aunt Lu can't have this tea. When he had gone to the Ministry of Rights earlier, not only had the documents not been approved, but Lin Qin had also given him a secret decree, almost frightening him to the point of not being able to leave the Ministry of Rights. It turned out that before the old master had gone to the battlefield, he had discussed with the emperor. The emperor had left a secret decree at the Ministry of Rights. If he were to remarry or take another concubine, he would have to relinquish his title. Box novel. Calmness was his father's severe punishment for betraying Long Shuli. To safeguard his title, he couldn't grant Lu Shulan an official status. Additionally, Lin Qin had reminded him that even though he had held a wedding, Lu Shulan couldn't become an official concubine, and she mustn't draw too much attention to herself in the Marquis manor. If this information reached the emperor's ears, it would be difficult to keep the secret decree hidden. Lu Shulan's face turned pale as she asked, Marquis, why? Su Yuro erupted in anger. Father, how can you do this? You married mother just yesterday. The entire Jiang capital Du city knows that mother is your concubine, and now you. How can you break your promise? What do you mean I broke my promise? Su Yuro, Who gave you the audacity to defy your father? Su Dingheng's anger, simmering since before, erupted with Su Yura's provocation. Seeing this, Su Yingxue quickly tried to mediate. Father, please don't be angry. Take care of your health. My younger sister is only worried about Aunt Liu's status. If you encounter any difficulties, you can tell me. I still have some influence in front of the emperor, and one might be able to help. Her eyes were sincere, and Su Dingheng was deeply moved. Oh, Yingxue, you have become quite sensible recently. I am very pleased. Father, you haven't explained why mother can't become your concubine. Compared to Su Yingxue's obedient and helpful demeanor, Su Yura's current tantrum made Su Dingheng resent her even more. His brows knitted into a scowl as he pointed at Su Yuro. If you continue to cause trouble, get out. Look at your sister and then look at yourself. If your sister has some face in front of the emperor, and if you have any, go beg your mother yourself. Sob, sob, sob. Suyuro burst into tears from the scolding. If she had any face in front of the emperor, she would have requested a marriage between herself and the 7th prince a long time ago. Why wait until today? Marquis, it's all my fault for not teaching Ruer well. Please punish this servant. Lu Shulan suddenly knelt in front of Su Dingheng. Her delicate and gentle appearance was already moving enough, and now with tears in her eyes, she appeared even more fragile. It tugged at Su Dingheng's heartstrings. Su Yingxue couldn't help but smile. Indeed, she was the woman who had pampered her father for many years. She was truly capable. She was willing to swallow her pride and lower her status. Laner, what are you doing? Get up. Even if I can't give you a status right now, there's no need for you to call yourself a servant. Su Dingheng quickly embraced her. Her addressing herself as a servant was breaking his heart. Marquis, this servant understands. Marquis must have encountered some difficulties, which is why things are this way. This servant won't blame Marquis. However, the rules of the Marquis manor are strict. If one don't have an official status, one can only be a servant. One cannot violate the rules of the Marquis manor and become a laughingstock if word gets out. Lu Shulan asserted firmly. Chapter 272. In charge of the Marquis mansion, every word she spoke was considerate of the Marquis manor and aimed to ease Su Dingheng's worries. Su Dingheng found it hard not to cherish her. Su Yingxue's eyes sparkled, and she stepped forward to persuade. Father, even though one can't change my address to Aunt Lu for now, since she's already married into the Marquis manor, why don't you temporarily delegate the stewardship to her? It will also help console her. Su Yingxue's gaze was gentle as she smiled at Lu Shulan. Lu Shulan's eyes held a hint of coldness. She knew that Su Yingxue's offering to give her authority was not out of kindness. Box novel. Calm Su Dingheng felt somewhat conflicted. This might indeed console Laner, but she doesn't even have a formal status right now. How can she manage the household? Ignoring the potential resistance from the Marquis manor's staff, such a situation becoming known outside would be a source of mockery. I didn't consider things thoroughly, Father. Su Yingxue said apologetically. Eldest young miss is being too humble. Eldest young miss possesses both virtue and talent, and she is the legitimate daughter of the Marquis manor. Since Marquis is occupied with state affairs, it's only proper to entrust the stewardship to eldest young miss. Lu Shulan earnestly stated. Mother, are you out of your mind? Allowing her to manage the household, the two of us. Su Yuro was about to speak, implying that they would be in grave danger under Su Yingxue's control. Lu Shulan's icy glare immediately silenced her, forcing Su Yuro to swallow her words and sulk silently to the side. Su Dingheng glanced at Su Yingxue. Her capability in managing the medical clinic was well known, and her reputation had changed significantly. Even the emperor favored her. Letting her handle the affairs of the Marquis manor was the best choice. However, he couldn't forget that Su Yingxue was a headstrong individual. Once he handed over power to her, would she eventually overthrow him? Even as her father? Father, one lacked knowledge and experience, and may first not be able to manage the Marquis manor well. Su Yingxue shook her head, appearing disinterested in the authority. This made Su Dingheng less worried. He thought that after taking in Lu Shulan and continuing to manage household matters himself, he would become a laughingstock. Moreover, Su Yingxue was at the age of marriage. Could she still control the Marquis manor after getting married? After considering this, Su Dingheng made a decision. Yingxue, I'll leave the affairs of the Marquis manor to you for the time being. Erase the token, use it to manage things. Be diligent and don't take things lightly. If you mishandle matters, I won't hesitate to punish you severely. He emphasized his words to prevent Su Yingxue from acting recklessly. Moreover, the stewardship was handled by a pair of tokens, and he had only given her one, so her authority wouldn't be too extensive. Su Yingxue accepted the token with a troubled expression, saying, I will do my best. Very well, don't let me down. I'm entrusting the arrangements for your aunt to you. Ensure she is treated well. Su Dingheng stressed this point. Su Yingxue also promised solemnly, I will carefully choose the best residence within the Marquis manor for aunt. One mean for Lady Lu. Su Yingxue covered her mouth, feigning innocence. Lu Shulan maintained a smile on the surface, but beneath her sleeves, her fists were clenched tightly. As she returned to her courtyard, Su Yingxue hummed a little tune. Jilan served by her side, her smile equally radiant. Miss, you are truly amazing. One could see Lady Liu's struggle in her expression today. She must have been clenching her grip so hard under her sleeves. Chapter 273. Look at this servant with the master's standard. Su Yingxue nodded. Perhaps her hand was a little sore. But Miss, I'm curious. What strategy did you employ this time to prevent Lady Lu from passing the document? Even though the master dotes on her so much, he wouldn't even allow her into the family genealogy? Xilan's admiration for Su Yingxue could no longer be expressed in words. This wasn't my plan, it was Grandpa's. Su Yingxue's eyes were filled with nostalgia. In her previous life, when Grandpa was critically ill, she had served him only once. Grandpa held her hand and said, Little Xue, even if I die, I won't let your mother be disappointed. I'll protect your position. At that time, she hadn't understood the deeper meaning of Grandpa's words. It was only after Grandpa's passing that Su Dingheng beat her mercilessly and told her about a secret decree Grandpa had obtained from the emperor. This decree ensured that he could never grant Lu Shulan a title in his lifetime. Box novel. Calm at that moment, her grandfather had already passed away. Su Dingheng and Su Yuro unleashed their anger on her, subjecting her to 3 days and nights of relentless beatings. The pain, which had seeped into her very bones, still sent shivers down her spine when she recalled it now. As she opened her eyes once more, Su Yingxue's gaze turned cold. Jilan, go to Sunset Court and inform them that I've selected Qingxin Court for Lady Lu. She can move there today, and won't need to share with Su Yuro. Recalling that Qingxin Court was the largest courtyard within the Marquis manor, and had a history of past incidents, Jilan lowered her head and chuckled. Yes, I will obey. When she arrived at Sunset Court, Su Yuro was amid a fit, causing chaos within the room. Upon seeing Jilan, Yuan Ruo glared. What are you doing here? Our miss affairs are not meant for a lowly maid like you to witness. Having been in the company of Su Yuro for a long time, Yuan Ruo's tongue was equally sharp. However, Jilan paid no heed to her and spoke gently. Whether I am a lowly maid or not, it's not for those even lower than me to comment upon. I am here on the orders of the eldest young Mississippi. Please inform Lady Lu. Her tone, her appearance, and her demeanor all surpassed Yuan Ruo by a considerable margin. Passers-by among the servants couldn't help but comment. Look, the master is different, and even the maids are different. Jilan is so poised. That's right. Look at Yuan Ruo's sharp and unkind demeanor. The second young miss is usually the same. Upon hearing this, Yuan Ruo stamped her foot in anger. You lot with your foul tongues, just wait until the second young miss deals with you. Although the servants outside the door dispersed, their dissatisfaction with her grew. At some point, Lady Lu had opened the door. Her face was gentle, but her voice carried a hint of coldness. Yuan Ruo, just because Ruer is lenient with you doesn't mean the others in the Marquis manor will be. Go and accept your punishment. Yuan Rua, unable to vent her anger, ended up taking the blame, leaving her in tears. Jilan couldn't help but admire her. Indeed, she was Lady Lu. With just one sentence, she shifted all of Su Yura's mistakes onto Yuan Rua, making everyone believe that Yuan Rua had been instigating Su Yuro. Jilan became even more cautious and gave a slight bow. Greetings, Lady Lu. I am here on the orders of the eldest young miss to inform you that Qingxin Court has been prepared for you. You can move in tonight. If you need anything, please instruct me, and the eldest young miss will ensure it's taken care of. What a good girl you are. Thank you so much. Accept this small token of appreciation and enjoy it. Lady Lu removed a gold bracelet from her wrist and attempted to put it on Xilan's hand. Chapter 274. Su Yingxue was heroic. Xilan's expression remained composed as she gently pushed the golden bracelet back. She smiled and said, 1 a.m. doing things for the eldest young miss, and it is my duty. One appreciate your kind intentions. Lu Shulan's eyes briefly revealed a hint of hidden anger, as she thought to herself that Su Yingxue was indeed formidable. The maid by her side remained unfazed by the golden bracelet. After Jilan finished speaking, Lu Shulan politely escorted her out. Su Yuro stepped out of the room and, observing Lu Shulan's polite behavior towards Jilan, she pouted and vented her frustration. Mother, she's just a lowly servant. Is it worth it for you to be so deferential? Box novel. Come, shut your mouth. Lu Shulan scolded Su Yuro, and then turned to lead her into the room. Have you forgotten what mother told you last night? In terms of status, Su Yingxue and her brother are legitimate offspring, while Yu Mi and Jin Xian are without official recognition. We must be cautious in our words and actions. Why are you always so impulsive? Don't you think your father's scolding wasn't enough today? Daddy is biased. He showered me with affection since one was a child. But now he's supporting Su Yingxue in everything. Su Yura's frustration deepened as she spoke. Wake up. Now that I have entered the Marquis manor, I am no longer a concubine and don't have the authority to act as a steward. You not only have to accommodate Su Yingxue in every way, but you also need to treat her well and lower your stance. Otherwise, if she catches any fault with you, you can just wait to be expelled from the Marquis manor. Lu Shulan warned her with a serious tone. Su Yuro had been pampered since childhood, and though she had her thoughts, she had recently been beaten down by Su Yingxue. Hearing Lu Shulan's words, she felt even more despondent and grew to resent Su Yingxue even more. Jilan returned from Sunset Court and told Su Yingxue about the golden bracelet given to her by Lady Lu. Her eyes were filled with disdain. Lady Lu thought that everyone was driven by greed for money and could be swayed by wealth. However, I've been with you for many years, and the words loyalty and integrity are engraved in my heart. Even if I were to die, I would never betray you, let alone over a golden bracelet. Su Yingxue felt very pleased. She recalled that in her previous life, Jilan had been just as loyal, unwavering in her loyalty to her even unto death. With that in mind, she turned and brought out a box of jewelry, tossing it in front of Jilan. Pick out a few pieces for yourself. The golden and jade jewelry clinked as it landed on the table. Jilan became a little flustered. Miss, I didn't do this for these. It's... You silly girl. One, know you don't care, but your miss is generous. Noble consort Xiao gifted me a heap of gold hairpins and bracelets. One can't use them all, so I'm leaving them here. Why not let me dress you up? When Xu Yan sees you later, his eyes will be blinded. Jilan had a fair and tender complexion, and Su Yingxue couldn't resist pinching her cheek. Jilan watched as Su Yingxue treated the jewelry as though it were air, and felt a mix of amusement and frustration. After all, which girl didn't like these things? She liked them too. However, she understood that her miss was genuinely generous. If she was too reserved, she wouldn't be a fitting maid for her. Without hesitation, Jilan chose a hairpin and a bracelet and adorned herself with them. Her cheeks turned red as she asked, Miss, do one look good like this? It looks great. It's just that your clothing is too plain. Tomorrow, let's go to the Thousand Jiao Pavilion and have Sister Jinyan customize 2 outfits in bright colors for you. Su Yingxue praised Jilan and made the suggestion. Jilan was flattered and had decided to be even more loyal to Su Yingxue in her lifetime. Thinking of Qingxin Court, she couldn't help but express her concern. Miss, even though Lady Lu has recently entered the manor and may not be aware of the situation at Qingxin Court, it has been uninhabited for many years. If you let Lady Lu move in like this, and she complains to the Marquis, wouldn't it nullify your plans of the past few days? Chapter 275. Lu Shulan plotted again. She won't complain. Su Yingxue took a sip of tea and spoke calmly. Why? Xilan's watery eyes were filled with curiosity. Due to the commotion surrounding her arrival in the manor, father has already lost face, and the Ministry of Rights has also encountered obstacles. Considering Lu Shulan's mindset, she should understand the consequences if she were to repeatedly provoke the man she relies on as soon as she enters the house. Moreover, the Marquis Manor isn't a place where she is the only woman. There are 2 younger and more beautiful courtesans here. Su Yingxue raised her eyebrows at Jilan. Box novel. Calm Jilan smiled and replied. In that case, not only will Lady Lu be unable to report you, but shall also need to clean up Qingxin Court. Otherwise, if Master sees it in a neglected state, he'll undoubtedly be disappointed and visit the courtesans' quarters. Exactly. When men have multiple women to choose from, they'll undoubtedly seek one who pleases them both physically and emotionally. Su Yingxue added, a hint of disdain in her eyes. But I feel that some men won't be like the Marquis, for instance, our eldest young master, and perhaps 9th Prince. Jilan playfully winked at Su Yingxue. Su Yingxue turned around and narrowed her eyes, saying, You naughty girl. You're teasing your miss. I misspoke, please don't be angry, miss. One just feel that 9th Prince is an extraordinary man, and he treats you exceptionally well. He considers everything for your benefit. You naughty girl, you're still talking. Su Yingxue chased after her, and the 2 of them began to playfully roughhouse in the courtyard. Ziwei watched from the shadows. He may not have understood the meaning behind Xilan's jest, but he could discern that whenever Chu Yihan's name was mentioned, Su Yingxue's smile was genuinely heartfelt. In Qingxin Court, Lu Shulan and Su Yuro arrived with a group of people. Lu Shulan's expression was stern, while Su Yuro exclaimed, Su Yingxue, you've gone too far. What kind of place is this? How can anyone live here? Su Yuro had joined the Marquis Manor late, and was unaware of the past events at Qingxin Court. She believed that Su Yingxue was motivated by fear of her mother, and had assigned her to the largest Qingxin Court in the Marquis Manor. However, the place was dirty and rundown, covered in dust, and an occasional cold wind sent shivers down one's spine in the courtyard. Lu Shulan, who had been pampered by Su Dingheng for years, couldn't help but feel a twinge of anger upon entering Qingxin Court. However, after a brief moment, she composed herself and immediately instructed Su Yura's servants, begin cleaning immediately, discard any old items, and move things from Yaoguang Garden. Before Marquis arrives tonight, make sure this place is redecorated to look fresh and appealing. The servants promptly went about their tasks, while Su Yuro continued to protest. Mother, we should complain this to father and have him stand up for us. Let's see how Su Yingxue bullies us. You fool. Lu Shulan gave Su Yura's hand a heavy pat. Can't you see how skilled Su Yingxue is at her tactics? Your father has stirred up quite a bit of trouble by accepting me as his concubine. We haven't yet figured out why the Ministry of Rights rejected it. And there are still 2 young and beautiful courtesans in the manor. If I cause more trouble for your father, no matter how deep his affection is for me, he'll grow weary of it. As for Su Yingxue, even if one report her, what then? She'll use her recent assumption of family leadership as an excuse to avoid repercussions. Your father won't punish her severely, and shall remain the Marquis' legitimate daughter. Lu Shulan's gaze turned cold. Every step of Su Yingxue's plan was carefully aimed at the mother-daughter pair's lifeline, ensuring that even if they suffered, they couldn't speak out. Chapter 276. Pretending to be hurt to gain sympathy. Mother, are we going to let Su Yingxue do as she pleases? Su Yuro started crying, feeling aggrieved. Ever since her last fall into the water, she had been constantly suppressed by Su Yingxue and hadn't lifted her head. She was becoming increasingly uncertain and impatient. She was too eager to witness Su Yingxue's downfall and teach her a lesson. Don't be hasty. Bear with it a little longer. Today you'll tidy up this courtyard with me. Tonight, we'll invite your father over for a meal. Lu Shulan consoled Suyuro. A hidden glint of determination shone in her eyes. Old Madame Zhang kept a watchful eye on Qingxing Court and reported to Su Yingxue about Lu Shulan and her daughter personally tidying up the courtyard. She also reminded Su Yingxue, Marquis will be having dinner at Qingxing Court tonight. Box novel. Calm Su Yingxue smiled. I'm afraid Qingxing Court won't be able to prepare anything special. Jilan, take some money to the kitchen and instruct them to add extra dishes to Qingxing Court tonight. Jilan smiled and replied, Yes, Mississippi. Su Dingheng arrived at Qingxing Court for dinner that evening. Initially, he was puzzled by Su Yingxue's decision to assign this courtyard to Lu Shulan. However, upon seeing the courtyard neatly organized by Lu Shulan, he held back his words. Upon reaching Lu Shulan's main chamber, she was dressed in a dark green dress. Her slender waist was adorned with a jade belt, accentuating her graceful figure and arousing the most primal desires in a man's heart. Su Dingheng rushed forward and embraced Lu Shulan. My laner. He held her, closed the door, and their passionate embrace began. Lu Shulan initially wanted to resist but welcomed him, using an old-fashioned technique that tickled Su Dingheng's heart. As he was about to make another move, Lu Shulan softly whimpered. It hurts? Lu Shulan's eyes brimmed with tears. Though her tears hadn't fallen yet, they had already tugged at Su Dingheng's heartstrings. Thinking she was doing it for fun, he couldn't help but smile. Laner, one love it when you call me that. Just as he was about to proceed, Lu Shulan's tears fell. Marquis, you're causing pain to me. I haven't even started anything yet. Su Dingheng furrowed his brow. This was not the usual playfulness. It's because I injured my hand while cleaning the house today. Lu Shulan concealed her hands behind her back. Her tearful eyes, combined with a delicate tone, had the effect of a 70% pitiful and 30% delicate appeal. She didn't utter the word wronged, but it was already evident on her face. Su Dingheng drew her hands out and noticed some minor scratches on her fair skin. The other hand showed signs of bruising, further fueling his anger. What's going on? Who dares to hurt you? He had always cherished Lu Shulan, knowing her to be as delicate as a flower. He had pampered her, nurturing her delicate skin, which remained as fair as snow despite bearing 2 children. Seeing her skin injured, he was particularly infuriated. Father, don't be angry. It's because I failed to share the burden with Mother that she injured her hand. Sobs from Suyuro were audible from outside the door. Su Dingheng quickly composed himself. He opened the door and allowed Suyuro inside. Noticing that her hands were just as injured as Lu Shulan's, with visible calluses, as if she had overworked herself. He was furious. What's going on? Both you and Yuro are my sweethearts. Who would dare to hurt you? Ruor, don't speak recklessly. Eldest young miss allocated this best courtyard to us. One believes she recently took over as the housekeeper and couldn't allocate extra manpower at the moment, so she had us clean it ourselves. You must show respect to the eldest young Mississippi. Lu Shulan gently admonished Suyuro. Chapter 277. The scheme failed. The tears at the corner of her eyes had not fallen yet, and it was very pitiful. Suyuro also sobbed softly. Yes, Ruor would never blame sister. Sister didn't mean to mistreat mother. This Su Yingxue. This Marquis has only handed over the management rights to her for a day, and this is how she handles things with me. How is she going to manage the Marquis manor in the future? Someone call Su Yingxue over. One want to take away her right to be the housekeeper and make her scram back to her courtyard. Su Dingheng roared outside. Lu Shulan and Suyuro looked at each other and smiled. Lu Shulan even held Su Dingheng's arm very carefully. Marquis, please calm down. Even if you want to talk to the eldest young miss, you still need to have dinner. You've worked hard all day. My heart aches. Box novel. Calm Lu Shulan had originally put a lot of effort into this meal. She had prepared some porridge and side dishes to provoke Su Dingheng's anger, and make him even angrier at Su Yingxue, who knew that Jilan had arrived before the food in her kitchen was served. Jilan brought a group of kitchen staff and walked in front of Su Dingheng with a smile. Miss knows that Marquis is having dinner at Qingxin Court, so she specially instructed me to make a few more dishes. She said that today is the first time Lady Lu is having dinner with Marquis, so we must not be careless. Humph. Su Yingxue did this. I was about to settle the score with her. Su Dingheng snorted softly. Jilan had a puzzled expression. Miss has just taken over the manor, and one don't know how she has offended Marquis. However, Marquis should eat first. Miss said that she would immediately come to pay her respects to Marquis after she is done with her work. Xilan's crisp voice was like a pearl falling onto a jade plate. She did not give Su Dingheng the chance to flare up, and immediately ordered the dishes to be placed on the table. Su Dingheng was still angry at first, but when he saw the table full of dishes, his anger became less obvious. There are 12 dishes in total. Stewed deer tendon in clay pot, shredded chicken and white fungus, arhut prawns, fried beef tenderloin with green onions, fragrant abalone, and so on. There are also various desserts, candied fruits and fresh fruits and vegetables. In addition, eldest young miss also took out 2 tails of blood swallow's nest from our courtyard, and stewed a cup each for Lady Lu and second young Mississippi. She also made ginseng chicken soup for Marquis. The eldest young miss did not know Lady Liu's taste, so she had prepared this dinner for Lady Lu out of her pocket. If there was anything unsatisfactory, she asked Lady Lu and the second young miss to forgive her. The eldest young miss said that she would prepare better in the future. After Jilan finished speaking, she lowered her head and stood at the side, waiting for instructions. Lu Shulan looked at the table full of delicacies, and a dark light flashed across her eyes. She had no choice but to stand up and bow. I am extremely grateful for eldest young miss hospitality. Don't stand on ceremony. Eldest young miss said that she always wants to give you the best. This courtyard is like this, and so is the dinner. If you have any other requests, tell me, and I will immediately pass them on to young miss. Jilan quickly helped Lady Lu up, not giving her the chance to bend down. However, Su Yuro couldn't hold it in any longer. She's just pretending to be kind. She was deliberately doing it for Daddy to see. Did she believe that a mere feast could mask the dilapidated state of this courtyard? This courtyard was the most dilapidated one in the Marquis manor. Ru, you can't slander eldest young miss. Lu Shulan secretly pinched Su Yuro, warning her with her eyes. Chapter 278. Behind a table of good dishes, Su Yuro's eyes were red from the pain, and her eyes were filled with grievance. All right. What's wrong with this courtyard? It's the largest one in the Marquis manor. I know it best. He had previously sympathized with Lu Shulan and her daughter, but seeing the dinner that Su Yingxue had carefully prepared, Su Dingheng couldn't help but wonder. If Su Yingxue had malicious intentions, why would she spend this money to maintain appearances? She could afford to give away the bird's nest and ginseng, so why wouldn't she send someone to fix Lu Shulan's courtyard? Su Dingheng furrowed his brows tightly. Sensing the unfavorable situation, Lu Shulan quickly leaned against him. Her voice was soft as water when she said, Marquis, it's all because one failed to discipline Ru'er properly. Eldest young miss has never mistreated us. This Qingxin court is indeed vast and spacious. One wanted to make some changes according to my ideas and called Ru'er over to help. That's when one injured my hand. Box novel. Calm after hearing her explanation, Su Dingheng's expression improved considerably. Lu Shulan discreetly glanced at Su Yuro, as if warning her to abandon their previous plan. She was not allowed to falsely accuse Su Yingxue in front of Su Dingheng. Their scheme had already been exposed during Su Yingxue's dinner. Su Dingheng truly enjoyed his dinner. He had a hearty appetite and finished the ginseng chicken soup. He glanced at the untouched bird's nest that Lu Shulan and her daughter had, and Lu Shulan quickly offered it to him to please him. Su Dingheng happily consumed it. After indulging in a satisfying meal, Lu Shulan immediately assisted him with bathing and changing. Su Yingxue hurried over after completing her tasks, and it was already dark outside. Seeing her fatigued face, Su Dingheng couldn't help but console her. Yingxue, managing the household is no easy task. You've worked hard. Father is too kind. It's just that one was quite busy today. I heard that Lady Lu was dissatisfied with the Qingxin court and made changes herself. That's too polite of Lady Lu. If there are any changes she desires, she should immediately inform me, and I will take care of them for her. Su Yingxue expressed regret in her eyes, and even engaged in some self-reflection in front of Su Dingheng regarding her inadequate job performance. Su Dingheng initially had some suspicions, but her words immediately dispelled them. He had wrongly doubted his daughter, who had diligently managed the household. He felt truly sorry for his unwarranted suspicions. He comforted Su Yingxue and advised her to return to rest early. Su Yingxue insisted on greeting Lu Shulan before departing. Upon noticing the injury on Lu Shulan's hand, she remembered to hand her a bottle of ointment made from blood-clotting grass, urging her to make good use of it. This bottle of ointment made Su Dingheng's eyes shine. Lu Shulan accepted the ointment and appeared warmly appreciative toward Su Yingxue, nearly bowing to express her gratitude. However, inwardly, she was filled with concealed resentment. As Su Yingxue left Qingxin court, Jilan thoughtfully handed her a plate of pastries. "Miss, you haven't eaten dinner yet. Please have some to fill up." Su Yingxue consumed 2 pastries consecutively. She was genuinely hungry, having spent the entire afternoon in the accounting room poring over the account book until it grew dark. When she reached Su Dingheng, her complexion was wan. Jilan noticed that Su Yingxue had finished all the pastries and couldn't help but feel sorry for her. "Miss, you've had it quite tough." Su Yingxue playfully flicked her forehead. Hard work needs to be genuine for people to believe it. Look at the injuries on Lu Shulan and Su Yura's hands. Those are real. Your miss was just hungry and a bit tired. Jilan burst into laughter. "I didn't realize how skilled Miss is at acting." During today's meal, one saw that the mother and daughter tasted like wax and had to put on smiles while eating with Marquis. After dinner, second young Miss face turned pale. Chapter 279. Treat Su Yingxue to roast whole lamb. If you've been pretending to be a saint for too long, sometimes you need to show your true colors, or you'll forget your nature. Su Yingxue licked her lips. "Jilan, go and have the kitchen prepare a few dishes." Su Yingxue placed her hand on her stomach. Although she had succeeded in making Lu Shulan and her daughter feel disgusted with the lavish spread on the table, she couldn't neglect her stomach. Jilan exclaimed and hurried to the kitchen. A figure in white descended from the sky, and Chu Yihan's composed voice resonated. "In my mansion, I've recently hired a few new chefs. Honorable Miss Su, would you be interested in indulging them?" "Your Highness." Box novel. Calm Su Yingxue's eyes sparkled. "You." She was about to ask why Chu Yihan was here, and why he moved around the Marquis manor with such agility. However, given his identity and how he had snatched her jade pendant during their first meeting, she decided not to press for answers. Her stomach rumbled. Chu Yihan's timing was impeccable. She approached Chu Yihan with the demeanor of an eager cat, playfully waving her hand. "Thank you for the gracious invitation, Your Highness." Jilan watched as Chu Yihan carried Su Yingxue, and together, they flew out of the courtyard like a pair of rainbows. She stood with her mouth agape exclaiming, "Your Highness treats Miss so well." He even noticed when Miss hadn't eaten. Inside the 9th Prince's mansion, Su Yingxue had barely landed in the garden when she caught the aroma of roasted meat. After touching the ground, she hurried to a pavilion and found 2 chefs in white robes and hats, busily turning a skewer with a pole. Her eyes gleamed with excitement. "Your Highness, your chefs know how to roast meat. And it smelled so tantalizing. It's a whole roasted lamb," Emochi said softly. Emochi had been tasked with finding these chefs for Your Highness. He wasn't sure where Your Highness had discovered them, but they were aiming to please a girl by treating her to delicious food and drink. Upon Your Highness' order, he had located the skilled chefs. Sending out the shadow guards and urging the horses at top speed, They tracked down these chefs in North Coast City. Although their dishes appeared rustic, the taste was exquisite. Even the palace's royal chefs might not be able to match their flavor. Su Yingxue inhaled the tempting aroma in the air and, overwhelmed, her stomach grumbled. She was so touched that she almost started crying like a kitten deprived of its milk. "Your Highness, it smells so good. This lamb, it looks delicious." A colossal oven held an entire lamb, and the sizzling meat drippings created a delightful hissing sound. Some of the drippings fell into the oven, landing on the charcoal and sparking to life, making the culinary experience even more tantalizing. Su Yingxue hadn't been this hungry earlier, but standing in front of the roast lamb, her stomach couldn't help but growl. Chu Yihan placed his hand on her abdomen and turned to Mo Qi, urging him to hasten. "She's hungry. Let's move more quickly." Mo Qi conferred with the two chefs, and the chefs commenced the meat-cutting process. They handed a knife to Chu Yihan and gestured for him to cut the first slice, a sign of respect for his noble status and the customary etiquette for starting the feast of a whole roasted lamb. Chu Yihan passed the knife to Su Yingxue. "You can do it. Cut wherever you'd like to start." "Your Highness, this is the prince's mansion. The lamb was prepared by you, so you should have the honor of beginning the feast," Mo Qi kindly reminded. Chu Yihan leaned close to Su Yingxue, his warm breath brushing against her ear as he said, "She makes the decisions for me. She's the most important." Su Yingxue's hand holding the knife trembled, almost slipping into the fire. She didn't have a ringing in her ears. She heard Chu Yihan clearly stating that she was the most important person in his life. Chapter 280. Chu Jinling broke in awkwardly. Su Yingxue's cheeks instantly turned bright red. "Your Highness, why don't you do it? I will do it together with you." Chu Yihan stood behind her, pressing his body against hers, holding her right hand. He used a knife to cut off a piece of meat and pinched it with his left hand, feeding it to Su Yingxue. She opened her mouth to eat, but due to nervousness she accidentally bit Chu Yihan's finger. Su Yingxue's face turned bright red, and she kept sucking on Chu Yihan's finger. He didn't pull it out, so she continued to suck. His soft fingers were slightly calloused, but they carried a strong force, reminding her of the night they shared a bed. Box novel. "Calm, is it delicious?" The man's highly tempting voice echoed, causing Su Yingxue's heartbeat to falter. "It's delicious," Su Yingxue replied, her voice trembling. "Are you planning to eat my finger?" Chu Yihan looked down at the top of her head. Su Yingxue was startled and quickly turned around. "Your Highness, I'm sorry. Did I hurt you?" Why couldn't she control her damn mouth? Why did she end up eating Chu Yihan's hand? Chu Yihan gazed at his oily finger which sparkled. There was a hint of regret in his eyes. "I thought you liked it? It doesn't seem very delicious." Su Yingxue's mind was in a whirl. How could she dare to say that Chu Yihan's hand wasn't delicious? She shook her head hastily. "No. Your Highness' hands are delicious. Very delicious." "My hands are delicious? Is the roast meat not delicious?" Chu Yihan chuckled. The corners of his mouth curled into a mischievous smile, and his jade-like face exuded irresistible allure. Su Yingxue could feel her heart rate spiraling out of control. In deep regret, she tried to figure out what to say to divert the situation. All delicious? Wouldn't that be admitting that she enjoyed eating Chu Yihan's hand? That was too outrageous. Thankfully, her stomach growled at the right moment, and she licked her lips. "Your Highness, I'm a bit hungry." Could Chu Yihan possibly hold on to this matter any longer? Chu Yihan looked at the trace of oil on the corner of her mouth, and his eyes suddenly turned deep. "I'm hungry too." Su Yingxue felt elated. "Then let's go together." Before she could finish the sentence, Chu Yihan had already kissed her. He lowered his head and kissed her lips. Her mouth still carried the aroma of roasted meat, and his deep voice was highly captivating. Mo Qi had already taken the two chefs aside to avoid any punishment. He held his sword and stared at the sky in speechless resignation. "What did I do wrong, God? You want Master, an old bachelor, to show off his affection in front of me." His heart was on the verge of collapsing. "Imperial uncle, it smells so good." Imperial uncle, I want to eat meat. Chu Jinling ran in with a huff. He had seen Chu Yihan and Su Yingxue hugging from a distance and exclaimed, Imperial uncle, the weather isn't cold. You don't need to be like this. He was just joking, but when he got closer and saw Chu Yihan's dark expression, his legs trembled. Lin Sisi followed him and patted his shoulder when she saw him trembling all over. She frowned and asked, What's wrong? Chu Jinling's trembling tongue rendered him speechless. Only when Lin Sisi saw Chu Yihan's expression and sensed the menacing atmosphere did she lower her head and awkwardly pull a tight-lipped smile. We've come at the wrong time. Let's leave now. Chapter 281. Make people throw up. She tugged at Chu Jinling's sleeve and prepared to escape. However, Su Yingxue quickly broke free from Chu Yihan's embrace and smiled, saying, You came at the right time. Such a big sheep. Your Highness, I couldn't finish it. Come and eat together. Sure. Lin Sisi also smelled the fragrance of the roasted mutton, and her eyes instantly lit up. It's better not. Chu Jinling pulled her back and smiled apologetically. Imperial uncle, we will visit you another day. He was about to escape with Lin Sisi, but Su Yingxue jumped down to stop them. Since you are here, there's no reason to leave on an empty stomach. Otherwise, if word gets out, they will say that your 9th imperial uncle is stingy. Box novel. Calm. Lin Sisi didn't dare to ruin Chu Yihan's plan. She waved her hand awkwardly. Forget it. Dr. Su, I'll leave this beautiful scenery and delicious food for you to enjoy. She and Chu Jinling probably wouldn't be able to enjoy it. Especially the handsome Chu Yihan. No. We'll share blessings and difficulties. Su Yingxue blocked the two of them. If they left, how awkward would it be for her and Chu Yihan to eat alone? The scene of her eating his finger was still fresh in her mind. Oh no, she was recalling it. Lin Sisi and Chu Jinling locked eyes as if saying, Look at the trouble you've brought upon us. Chu Jinling's mind spun rapidly as he held Lin Sisi's hand. His smile was exceptionally bright. Since Imperial Aunt has said so, then I won't stand on ceremony. He turned around and looked at Chu Yihan with a smile as radiant as a flower, saying, Imperial uncle, Sisi and one will just have a meal here. You don't mind, right? As he spoke, he observed. Indeed, the use of Imperial Aunt had significantly softened Chu Yihan's expression. Yes. Chu Yihan nodded in agreement. Chu Jinling patted his chest. Su Yingxue's face was flushed, but he couldn't care less. After all, it was a choice between two evils. He was more afraid of offending his imperial uncle than being blacklisted by Su Yingxue, who was also his business partner. A roasted whole lamb filled the stomachs of Su Yingxue, Chu Jinling, and Lin Sisi. To aid digestion, the chef even heated fresh goat's milk and added hawthorn to it, ensuring that it wouldn't cause any discomfort in their stomachs. After Su Yingxue finished her drink, a satisfied smile graced her face. Her smile was as brilliant as a galaxy, and even though Chu Yihan had only had a glass of wine, he appeared to be intoxicated. He leaned in and kissed Su Yingxue passionately. Su Yingxue awkwardly resisted, saying, Oh, Your Highness, the 9th prince, and the others are still around. They're not here, Chu Yihan replied. He continued to kiss her fervently. Su Yingxue, out of the corner of her eye, noticed that there were only the two of them left in the entire pavilion. There was no sign of the other two. Chu Jinling had already whisked Lin Sisi away. Lin Sisi, holding her stomach, urged, Slow down. We just ate. Xiaojiu, take it easy. Chu Jinling had previously stolen Chu Yihan's wine, and felt invigorated. When Lin Sisi couldn't keep up, he turned around, lifted her onto his shoulder, and rushed away. As he ran, he exclaimed, Burp, can't be slow. My imperial uncle will kill people. Whoever dares to disrupt his plans will face death. Ugh. Puff. Chu Jinling stopped in an empty alley, and suddenly heard a strange sound behind him. He turned around while still carrying Lin Sisi and mumbled, Strange, there's no one here. Where did that sound come from? Chapter 282. Let's do something bad. Chu Jinling. I'll kill you. She had just eaten the roasted whole lamb, lamb leg, and mutton, and he had made her vomit it all. Why do you want to kill me? I didn't ruin your good time. Chu Jinling put her down, his fair and handsome face displaying confusion. Lin Cece steadied herself, ready to strike, but looking at Chu Jinling's fair skin, she reached out to touch it. It's so soft and your skin is so smooth. Box novel. Calm even better than her skin. Suddenly, she couldn't bear to hit him anymore. A kiss. Smooch. Lin Cece hooked her arms around Chu Jinling's neck and gave him a smooch on the cheek. Chu Jinling chuckled and said, "You kissed me. Are you planning something mischievous too?" "What do you mean by mischievous?" Lin Cece was not drunk, but Chu Jinling's alcoholic breath and warm closeness made her feel unexpectedly tipsy. "It means when a man and a woman." Hee. Chu Jinling mischievously winked. Lin Cece's eyes widened. The person in front of her had a roguish yet innocent smile, with eyes as pure as a child's. A daring idea popped into Lin Cece's mind. She hooked her arms around Chu Jinling's neck and offered her lips, saying, "Xiao Jiu, let's be mischievous together." Ha! Chu Jinling was taken aback. He was only joking. But why had Lin Cece just tackled him like that? Su Yingxue had been trapped in the 9th Prince's mansion by Chu Yihan the day before. Fortunately, he hadn't done anything to her, and he had even said quite seriously, "I'm not the type of person who lusts after beauty." Thinking about it now, Su Yingxue still found it somewhat greasy. She couldn't help but say, "Don't lust after beauty and don't kiss me." Every time she thought about that scene, her face turned bright red. "Miss Old Madame Zhang is here." Jilan brought Old Madame Zhang in. A few days ago, Su Yingxue had moved Old Madame Zhang out of her courtyard. Jilan was her person on the surface, while Old Madame Zhang was her hidden eye in the Marquis manner. Su Yingxue put aside her amorous thoughts and remained as composed as ever. "Old Madame Zhang, is there something important?" "Yes, Mississippi. Yesterday, Lady Lu and the second young miss were upset. Today, the second young miss created a ruckus in Qingxin Court, and then in her courtyard. The disturbance hasn't stopped yet." Old Madame Zhang reported truthfully. Su Yingxue smiled. "How did Lady Lu react?" "I'm guessing she's fed up with Su Yuru's tantrums as well. If Su Yuru wants to throw a fit, let her. After all, as long as she didn't want to die, she wouldn't come to bother her." "I wouldn't have come if it were just ordinary items being smashed, but I observed that the second young miss smashed the best tables and chairs, and some of them were even brought in from outside the residence by Lady Lu. Lady Lu tried to reason with her, but the second young miss got even more agitated." Old Madame Zhang kindly reminded her. Su Yingxue asked Jilan to see Old Madame Zhang off. When Jilan returned, Su Yingxue was massaging her temples. Jilan said, "Miss, the second young miss is shooting herself in the foot. She smashed all the furniture. Let's see what she'll use now." "Don't let your guard down. Old Madame Zhang said she wouldn't tell us if it were just small items being smashed. Go and find out how many things Su Yuru has smashed and their value," Su Yingxue instructed. Although she wasn't sure if there was a hidden agenda behind Su Yuru's actions, she had a feeling that this bitch was on the brink of a breakdown under her management. Chapter 283. Find Su Yingxue to settle the debt. Su Yuru was even more sorrowful than Su Yingxue had imagined. She had long since broken down. However, while she was smashing things in her breakdown, she suddenly thought of a way to vent her anger. She selectively chose furniture to smash, and she even specifically targeted the expensive ones. After smashing, she had Yuan Ruo compile a list. The following day, she took people with her to Red Brocade Lane to make purchases. When she brought back the items, she left the Marquis manor with the bill. Box novel. Su Yingxue was in the accounting office, clattering away on an abacus. This account book and abacus were the first shed ever encountered in both her past and present lives. Thankfully, she was smart and didn't get buried under this mountain of accounts. Jilan knocked on the door, bringing in a middle-aged man with a grim expression. The man was dressed as a businessman, and if he shaved off the 2 tufts of beard at the corners of his mouth, he looked quite similar to Manager Qi. The moment he entered, he respectfully greeted Su Yingxue. I am the proprietor of Red Brocade Lane. I've heard that eldest young miss is currently in charge of the Marquis Manor. I've come to request that eldest young A/I settle the bill. Settle what bill? Su Yingxue furrowed her brows slightly. Red Brocade Lane primarily sold furniture, but the Marquis Manor hadn't made any furniture purchases recently. This is the bill from the Marquis Manor. Yesterday, the second young miss purchased quite a lot of furniture in our shop, and instructed me to come to the Marquis Manor to settle the bill. The proprietor handed over the bill with a smile. It spanned 3 to 4 pages in total. Su Yingxue couldn't help but chuckle as she read it. So my dear sister is quite the shopper. She spent a total of 500 taels of silver. Why didn't she just sell herself and buy whatever she wanted? Miss, the second young miss is deliberately trying to embarrass you. Jilan complained in Su Yingxue's ear. Su Yingxue sneered. It's not just about embarrassment. She also wants to drain my pockets. The proprietor, having been in business for many years, had also collected bills from many noble households. Seeing that Su Yingxue and her servant had gloomy expressions, he quickly offered, I'm not in a rush to collect payment. If eldest young miss can't make the decision, it's not too late for Marquis to settle the shop's bill once he learns of it. Now that I am managing the household, there is no need to trouble my father. Jilan, please settle the shop's bill, not a tael less. Su Yingxue handed the bill to Jilan. Although Jilan was extremely reluctant, she had to obey Su Yingxue's instructions. After seeing off the Red Brocade Lane proprietor, Xilan's face fell. Miss, the second young miss is doing this on purpose. She's so extravagant that her spending alone exceeds the Marquis Manor's monthly allowance. If master learns of this, he'll certainly blame you, miss, for your poor management. Su Yuro was dragging down the Marquis Manor's reputation and deliberately extorting money from Su Yingxue. Even though her miss didn't lack those 500 taels, Jilan was angry on her behalf. Who would want to be the scapegoat for Su Yuro? Jilan, do you know what it's like to drive someone insane? Su Yingxue jotted down the expenditure of 500 taels on the account and chuckled softly. Drive someone insane? Doubt filled Xilan's eyes. However, she had been with Su Yingxue for so long that she would mull over her words before responding. Suddenly she figured it out. You mean driving the second young miss insane? Miss, what brilliant plan do you have this time? Her eyes sparkled like stars in the night sky. Su Yingxue tapped her fingers lightly on the table. Continuously suppress her, and when she thinks she can make a comeback, deliver a heavy blow, and then she must be defeated. Jilan stood beside Su Yingxue and quickly answered. Su Yingxue scratched her nose. Smart. In Sunset Court, Su Yuro was proudly admiring the new furniture she had just purchased. She gently stroked the polished mahogany tabletop. This feeling is truly remarkable. Chapter 284. If you spend money recklessly again, you'll be killed. Beside her, Yuan Rua was still holding the newly custom-made dowry box. Miss, look at this new jewelry box. The workmanship is so exquisite. The furniture in Red Brocade Lane has always been well made. It's a pity the golden silkwood hasn't arrived yet, so we can only use this mahogany and rosewood. Su Yuro snorted in disdain. If they had the prized golden silkwood, she would make Su Yingxue foot the bill. Watching as she emptied the Marquis Manor's treasury and got kicked out by their father. Miss, even though we've bought so many things and Su Yingxue has paid for them, won't madam be angry if she finds out? Yuan Rua still had lingering fears from her past punishment by Lu Shulan. In her past role, she followed Su Yuro and enjoyed many benefits, but the circumstances were different now with Su Yingxue in charge of the household. If Su Yuro pushed her limits too far, she as a maid might face an unfortunate outcome. Box novel. Calm, why worry? I bought some for my mother too. Immediately send the items to her. She's been holding back a lot of frustration lately. Let's make her happy. Su Yuro ordered with an air of arrogance. Yuan Rua delivered the new furniture to Lu Shulan. However, rather than showing joy, Lu Shulan learned that it was Su Yingxue who had paid for them and reprimanded Su Yuro. Su Yuro's eyes welled up with tears from the scolding. She pouted, saying, "Mother, even though Su Yingxue is in charge, she can't mistreat us. One don't believe Daddy would allow us to suffer. Your father may not wish to see it, but Su Yingxue's cunning schemes are hard to guard against. This time it's just 500 taels, not a considerable sum. She won't likely bring this matter to your father. Even if she tries to make a fuss with these 500 taels, I can handle it. But if you continue to waste money and give Su Yingxue a handle to grasp, I won't be able to save you," Lu Shulan sternly advised. She didn't mean to threaten her, but felt compelled to issue a serious warning. Previously, when Lu Shulan embezzled a significant sum of money to purchase a deadly plague at Silver Moon Pavilion, she didn't know how Su Dingheng had found out, and he had nearly lost his trust in her. Over the past few days, she had refrained from spending money, hoping that Su Dingheng's anger would subside, allowing her to regain his trust and turn the tables against Su Yingxue. With Su Yuro lavishly spending money now, Lu Shulan felt the need to remind her and set boundaries. "I understand, Mother," Su Yuro muttered with a touch of resentment. "Well, I've already bought all these pieces of furniture, so one can't return them." "These items can't be returned, but all the custom-made ones you ordered, return them." Lu Shulan's tone was uncompromising. "After Su Yingxue falls, I won't skimp on the money you want to spend. However, until then, you must behave prudently and responsibly." Su Yuro let out a resentful sigh. Lu Shulan firmly gripped her hand and insisted, "Did you hear my warning? Don't cause any more trouble." "I heard you," Su Yuro replied, trembling. Her mother seldom used such stern words with her. Su Yingxue spent 2 days in the accounting room without receiving any additional bills from Su Yuro. She dispatched Jilan to investigate, and Jilan returned with puzzling news. "It's rather strange," second young miss sent someone to Red Brocade Lane, and returned all the custom-made items, even forfeiting a deposit of several dozen taels. Su Yingxue raised an eyebrow. "It appears that Lady Lu is quite adept at disciplining her daughter." Jilan was a bit concerned. "But won't this disrupt Miss' plans?" Su Yingxue recorded the final entry and smiled. "Not necessarily. Lady Lu may discipline her daughter, but if her daughter doesn't heed her discipline, what can she do?" Jilan saw the gleam of insight in Su Yingxue's eyes and felt relieved that her eldest young miss had another clever idea. Chapter 285. Jealous of Su Yingxue's wealth. Afternoon, Su Yingxue changed into a peach blossom dress and adorned herself with a pearl and golden hairpin. She looked luxurious and elegant. When her servants saw her, they couldn't help but admire her, saying, "Eldest young miss is so beautiful and noble." Yes, the hairpin on her head is made of pure gold and studded with pearls the size of a thumb. Bah! Those are called luminous pearls. Eldest young miss just walked past a dim area in the corridor, and that pearl is glowing. The servants discussed animatedly, and Su Yuro gritted her teeth so hard that they almost shattered. She didn't have many gold ornaments to begin with, and those adorned with pearls were already quite luxurious. Su Yingxue's golden hairpin even featured a thumb-sized luminous pearl. Box novel. The Marquis Manor might not even have many of these. Why should she have it? Su Yingxue has it, so why can't I? Su Yuro stomped her foot in anger and rushed toward the door. Yuan Rua remembered Lu Shulan's reminder and cautioned her. "Miss, Madam said that no matter what trick Su Yingxue uses, we must not stoop to her level." "Is this stooping to her level? Just listen to what those people are saying. They used to praise me and flatter me as their mistress, but now they've all gone to admire Su Yingxue. One want to see how exquisite her golden hairpin is," Su Yuro said as she rushed out. Yuan Rua anxiously shouted, Miss, don't be impulsive." Su Yingxue was concerned that Su Yuro wouldn't be able to catch up, so she deliberately slowed her pace and spent some extra time in the garden. Sure enough, Su Yuro soon arrived. When she saw the golden hairpin on Su Yingxue's head, her face turned green with envy. "Ew, how can you have such a valuable hairpin?" Although she usually associated with the daughters of prestigious families and had seen a lot of jewelry, the hairpin on Su Yingxue's head was something she had never seen before. The thumb-sized luminous pearl became even more dazzling in the sunlight. This Su Yingshi's snow-white fingers lightly brushed the hairpin, and she appeared nonchalant. I bought it from Thousand Jiao Pavilion, and it just arrived the day before yesterday. There's only one like it in Jiangdu City. Sister, I'm sorry, but it's quite expensive. You can only look at it. Su Yingxue, what do you mean by this? Su Yuro blushed and bit her lip. The literal meaning is that valuable items are matched with valuable people. As a daughter of a concubine, you should wear a regular golden hairpin. See, the golden hairpin on Xilan's head suits you well. Su Yingxue raised her eyebrows. Following Su Yingshi's gaze, Su Yuro saw the golden hairpin on Xilan's head. The anger in her heart spewed out. Are you a fool? A lowly servant is worthy of wearing a golden hairpin? Second young miss, please watch your words. Even though I am a servant, 1A am also eldest young miss servant. Second miss, how can you call me a lowly servant? It depends on whose master you serve. Jilan coquettishly replied. Her voice was clear and melodious, akin to pearls falling on a jade plate, a sound that brought delight and tranquility. All of you, just wait. Suyuro turned and ran. What's the big deal about a golden hairpin? Oh, buy one too. One want one too. She stormed out, hailed a carriage, and rushed to Thousand Jiao Pavilion in anger. Su Yingxue and Jilan exchanged smiles and calmly entered their carriage. Thousand Jiao Pavilion's business was flourishing, and Wu Jinyan had been too busy to see Su Yingxue for a while. However, when she learned that Su Yingxue was visiting today, she set aside all her tasks and personally welcomed her at the door, escorting her to a private room. Chapter 286. Another 10,000 tales. As soon as Su Yingxue entered Thousand Jiao Pavilion, she was greeted by the sweet and refreshing fragrance in the air, which made her expression relax with pleasure. This is Chun Tingxue, a perfume I recently formulated. Placing a bottle of it in the main hall fills the entire room with a delightful and fresh aroma. Wu Jinyan explained to her attentively. Perfume. It's made by dissolving spices in water, and you can either place it in your home or apply it to your skin. It leaves a long-lasting fragrance. Sister Jinyan is meticulous and skillful. You are also good at innovation. No wonder the Thousand Jiao Pavilion has become famous since it opened. Su Yingshi's eyes were filled with admiration. In terms of doing business, Wu Jinyan was a well-deserved shrewd person. She was much more powerful than her box novel. Calm, there are many ways to do business, and there are many things to worry about. Compared to your medical center, it's more complicated. However, now that the medical center has been rebuilt, you can rest at home for a few days. One heard that you've been taking care of the family recently, and doing very well. In the room, Wu Jinyan served her a cup of tea. Su Yingxue, while savoring the tea's fragrance mixed with the scent of the perfume, found the combination surprisingly harmonious and refreshing. Indeed, Sister Jinyan, you're well informed, she remarked with a light chuckle. I also have some bad news for you. Today, Su Yuro arrived in a fit of anger and selected numerous clothes and jewelry. She even got into a scuffle with someone just now. My shopkeeper reminded her not to buy too many at once. She scolded the shopkeeper and took more instead. A crease appeared between Wu Jinyan's eyebrows. She knew that Su Yingxue was in charge of the Marquis Manor, and she had naturally heard about the matter of Red Brocade Lane going to the Marquis Manor to report the debt. She was worried that Su Yuro was deliberately making an enemy out of her. She had spent so much money and had put it all on Su Yingxue. The corners of Su Yingshi's lips curled up in a relaxed manner. No matter how much money she spends, you just accept it. If she says that she wants to repay the money, sister doesn't have to be polite. Just send someone to the Marquis Manor to ask for the money. Sending someone to the Marquis Manor for payment, isn't that essentially requesting payment from you? If the money comes from your hands, Marquis may blame you for poor stewardship and inadequate control. After all, I've lived amidst such power struggles for many years. Wu Jinyan understood the household's intricate dynamics well. What you want is the Marquis Manor's money, and it will be deducted from Daddy's account. Su Yingxue smirked and winked at her. Wu Jinyan was no longer concerned. smiling as she suggested. In that case, why not provide a share for all the Su family's women? This way, not only can I conduct business, but it would also grant you considerable prestige. Sister Jinyan, what an excellent idea. I'd like to trouble you to prepare a set for me. One have 2 older cousins and 3 younger ones. Sister, please don't skimp. Of course. Wu Jingyan personally arranged the clothing and accessories for Su Yingxue and had them delivered to the other 2 Su family residences. Unsurprisingly, Su Yuro purchased everything on credit and had Thousand Jiao Pavilion bill the Marquis manor. Upon returning with a cart full of items, Su Yuro consciously avoided revealing her purchases to Lu Shulan. However, her bill was promptly delivered to Su Dingheng the following day. Upon hearing of Su Dingheng's outburst in the main hall, Lu Shulan immediately thought of Su Yuro. Lu Shulan was afraid that Su Yuro had stirred up trouble again, so she went to inspect her courtyard. Su Yuro had no opportunity to conceal her actions, and a variety of new clothes and accessories lay exposed before Lu Shulan. Following account, Lu Shulan was furious, wishing to give Su Yuro a sound slap. You foolish child. I've repeatedly warned you not to cause any trouble. Don't cause any trouble. You bought so many things. If your father learns about this expenditure, what will happen? You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.